Hi, welcome to my session on the 3 secrets you must master to quickly launch and scale your business for massive success and profits. I'm your host, Todd Schuler. I'm so excited to be with you today, along with the rest of the champions doing this 24 Hours of Entrepreneurship Digital Summit. I'm sure you've learned a lot from all of the great speakers, right? The fantastic resources they've made available to you and the tremendous value that you've gained from the secrets of their success. I'm here to share mine. Let's get started, shall we? Listen, before we do though, I want you to take a moment to get my free book. Yes, my free gift to you is my book, The Tiger Tamer. It's the basis for the day's session. It's available right now, limited free digital ebook download by clicking the link below or going to my website. You see the link on the screen, www.toddschuler.com/24 hours. I want you to know that also that the book is available via Kindle and Audible at a specially reduced price. Listen, the first 1,000 people of you that register on my website will get the Audible version for free. Get there fast, everyone. So let's talk about this current situation, right? I mean, it's absolutely bananas, right? I mean, you've got the COVID-19 pandemic that's still wreaking havoc, right? Over 2 million cases here in the United States and over 110,000 people that have lost their lives as a result of it. And that's just here, right? It's wreaking havoc globally, right? Over 20 million job losses, right? And growing. Ouch. You know, others are having to take massive pay cuts. And as you know, right, let's just be honest, you know, as black folks, we're getting hit, 30 times harder. Of course, you know, the recent George Floyd tragedy and of course, on one hand, and then at the same time, you got the rising of the Black Lives Matter movement in such a massive way, right? That's creating both social upheaval and political awakening. Many segments, as you know, are being crushed, right? I read recently a recent article says we're officially in the recession. But yet, in the middle of this, right, other segments are absolutely booming. I mean, the S&P the other day said that listen, it's already wiped out all of its losses of COVID-19. It's as if in the stock market there was no COVID-19. It's bananas, right? And then, you've got really cool news happen when you've got Elon Musk and the SpaceX team that partner with NASA to send 2 astronauts to space to go to the International Space Station. Something that hadn't happened in over nearly a decade. With all this chaos going on, right? It's just chaos. It's creating some of the biggest opportunities ever for black entrepreneurs like you. And I'm telling you, just like Del Martin, the old brother, where art thou? Come on in, the water is fine. Listen, which brings me to a very important question. Why are you here? Yeah, you, I'm talking to you. I think it's probably 3 things, 1 or 3 things, right? Or a combination of the following. It's either fear about all the stuff I just talked to you about earlier, minus the last bullet, right? Where you may have experienced a job loss or pay cut, if that's got you here, if fear brought you out to be an aspiring entrepreneur, hey, welcome. If faith brought you here, you were saying in your heart for the longest, listen, I have something in my heart, something in my spirit that I've got to get it, bring birth to and bring to the world to either relieve suffering or make the lives of people better around the world, much like George Washington Carver, who trained his eye on the lowly peanut, right? They used to just feed and stuff peanuts to cows, right? And pigs. He was able to train his eye on that and create, hundreds and hundreds of products out of the peanut, right? Amazing. So if you're here because of that, welcome as well. And lastly, but not least, trust me on this, if you're here for massive profits, hey, trust me, ain't nothing wrong with that, people, because the purpose of business is profit. So welcome here again, and again. So what are the objectives of this session? There are 3. Number 1, I'm here to help you start smarter. In this time where you've got so much craziness going on, you need critical tips and tools and technology to help you start smarter, right? In addition to that, I'm here to help you finish faster. Listen, there ain't no time to let any grass grow under your feet. There's too many opportunities, and if you're going to get to number 3, right, you gotta get there faster. But not only that, to finish faster, but also for that purpose, but also, if you're in a situation where you've been stuck, I want you to finish faster, even if it's a failure, so you can turn the page and start all over again. Lastly, of course, the last objective, of course, is that you'll achieve more profits and success in your life and in your business. So, imagine with me, please, in pre-COVID times, and for some of you, having to harken back to your childhood days. Do you remember, going to the circus, right? Being on the big top? I do. Listen, if you remember like I do, listen, it was an amazing place to be, right? I mean, so full of excitement and electricity all over the place. I mean, you walk in, right? You've got folks' bodies flying all above you, right? They're doing the trapeze thing, right? I mean, then all of a sudden, while your eyes are trained on that, then something else catches your eye. You've got the dancing, the ladies with the elephants doing all kinds of cool stuff, right? Dancing in balls and doing all that kind of cool stuff. And then, while we're taking all that in, right? It's just, if it couldn't get any better, when we need to notice it, you've got a bunch of guys in a little clown car that gets out, right? And they're squirting us with water or confetti or something bananas like that. And not to mention, right, just being in that atmosphere was just fantastic. And of course, the sticky cotton candy, but just an amazing, amazing place to just soak in all the fun and entertainment. Well, listen, one of my favorite feats to watch doing that whole thing, right, was the guy who walked out of seemingly nowhere, right? He walks to the center stage. He's walking out of he's the champion, right? And what does he do next? He decides he's going to walk into a cage, and they lock the door, and inside the cage, it's full of ferocious cats. Yes, I'm looking at this guy like, what? What in the world you doing, boy, trying to get in there? Okay, but he walking it calm. You understand? He turns to us like, look, I got this, right? And sure enough, he does, right? He's got those cats doing everything. He got tigers, right? He's wrestling with tigers, right? He's got tigers, on their tippy toes, right? Walking around that ball. And then he got tigers jumping through hoops of fire. I mean, who does this, right? I mean, just absolutely electric, right? Just absolutely crazy. It was just crazy, right? Oh yeah, I mean, an amazing, amazing thing, right? So listen. After seeing that, right, and thinking about that, it made me think about, one day I had an epiphany of the link, right, of this guy being this guy in there taming these tigers in this case, and entrepreneurship. And, it really got my mind going. And think about it for a second, right? It's you and your business, and your audience, they're looking at you, right? Your customers, prospects, and actual customers, and they want you to take, your challenge is to take the stage and put on a show, right? I mean, what an amazing analogy, which is how I got to that book over there, right? The Tiger Tamer. So, interestingly enough, right, all entrepreneurs start off, their businesses, in a way that, that is cutesy-fruity, right? I remember starting my first business in college. It was called Perspective Graphics and Desktop Publishing. And, before I even actually started a business, I said to myself, listen, boy, you got to have a logo. And that's what I did. I started to, create this. It was ugly. It was janky. You know what I'm saying? But it was my logo, right? You just get called about it, baby, ugly. You hear what I'm saying? But, I had my logo, and then I, got my little business cards, and I'm busy passing my business card to everybody. I was just happy, very much like a plush toy. You take it absolutely everywhere. I had cards going out the wazoo, but I didn't have a clue what the business was all about, right? And if you're like me and you had the similar experience, it leads me to secret number 1 that you quickly learn about your business. That is, your business, ladies and gentlemen, is a tiger. Yes, You can see him on screen. I mean, that boy looks, that boy got his fangs out, right? I mean, he's about ready to pounce on you. You hear what I'm saying? I mean, he's a savage beast. Hungry, unrelenting. He's wild. He's unpredictable. And he's dangerous. Now, I know you probably didn't think about that, right? Well, even if you work for somebody else currently and you're an aspiring entrepreneur, right? They said, Les Brown was given a session to talk, and he shared a statistic, and he said, listen, before the most heart attacks in America happened before 7 o'clock a.m. on Monday mornings. It's as if, the heart, your mind is saying, listen, I got to get my tail to work. And my heart said, I ain't going there. There's a tiger over there, and that tiger's causing me anxiety, and we shutting it down. You hear what I'm saying? So all I'm saying to you, listen, if you don't tame and respect your business, your tiger can wipe out your health, your finances, your marriage, your other relationships and friends, and I just don't want that for you, okay? So I asked myself, what could I do to help aspiring entrepreneurs and business leaders that's been in business for a long time understand the real nature of their business, in the case, like I said, being a tiger? Well, it was more than that, right? I decided to come up with what I called the Tiger Tamer business DNA to give, leaders of businesses a simple yet holistic view of your business. That tiger, that savage beast that I was talking to you about, he's comprised of two components: organizational health and execution. By the way, whether or not, you are just starting your business or you've been in business for a while, you can attest to the following, that your tiger's got some pre-existing condition. Yeah, the doctor's in the house. I'm telling you right now that your tiger got some issues going on. Think about it for a second. You may have one to follow. You may have issues going on with people, right? Processes is all out of whack. You could have written the best business plan with all the best numbers. You got it double checked by the SBA, right? And certify that you got a bona fide plan until you actually get it work, right? Get in the business and things start going crazy, right? Classic examples of this are things like, folks being burned out, you being burned out, right? You may have a situation where you're the one that's going into the closet all the time to pull out the red cape and boots because you're trying to take the business one way and the business going the other way. I mean, whoo, it's something else. You know what I'm saying? So with that in mind, I hope you now understand that by seeing your business correctly, it helps you understand the stakes that are involved. Yeah, the stakes are high, ladies and gentlemen. And you got to understand what your task is, right? What your assignment is. I mean, you've got to make meaning, right? If you're not committed to your business, shame on you. I'm challenging you today. You need to commit to your business, because trust me, the business, that tiger, trust me, if you feel like in real life, listen, the tiger gonna know. You hear what I'm saying? You got to tame that guy. Plus, you got to sell tickets. In addition to as you done sold a ticket, you got to come around and give the best show, the greatest show on earth to your customers. You hear what I'm saying? And lastly but not least, you got to leave those customers begging you for more. That they're basically saying to you, man, I enjoyed this show so much, I can't wait to the next one. Boy, you better take my money. So, with that being said, how do you go from this snarling, out of control, savage beast, your tiger, your business, right? To, as you see on screen, again, the rock star Tiger Tamer, right? In the stage, right? Got his arms up, right? I mean, but not only that, look behind him. He's got the tigers on their haunches. And you know what they said? We just got your money. Yeah, we did the thing, y'all. Yeah, the difference between one and the other is that in the other picture, with that tamer up there, that tamer and his team, that's not shown to you, but trust me that they're there. And trust me, they're there to save that tamer's life. He knows he's not alone when he's in that cage. He knows he has a team of people behind him, because sometimes, he go in that cage, those tigers ain't feeling him. You know what I'm saying? And they looking at him like a snack, right? One of them bad boys, I remember reading in the newspaper one time that, Siegfried and Roy, the famous tamers in Las Vegas, he had a white tiger. And guess what the white tiger, he didn't have that tiger for years, right? He's on stage, and all of a sudden, you know what? The tiger said, listen, let me taste a little bit of you. I mean, listen, you got to have a team behind you because they need to be able to distract, the tiger so that the tamer can get out of the cage and the safety. Same thing here. The tamer and his team, they train their tigers to produce entertainment, which is a form of value to people that are starving for entertainment, which is their customers, right? And those customers are willing to exchange dollars, real dollars, for a ticket to get in and enjoy that show. That, of course, turns into profit for the circus. Which leads me to secret number 2. Introducing the Tiger Tamer Business Mastery Model. Yes, this is the very thing you need in order to quickly launch and scale your business for massive profits, right? But I got to peel it back for you. Listen, the mastery model contains, as you notice, there's another component, right? You still got organizational health, you still got execution, but for right there in the middle is bam, you got leadership, right? I mean, listen, you must obtain, business mastery to impose your will upon your tiger and make it produce value for your customers. That's no way around it. Leadership is the very power that you must possess to tame your business. But hold on for a second. To lead, you've got to have a team. And herein lies the rub. Why is it? I've been doing this for decades now, right? Been mentoring startups and going and working in smart startup businesses and all the way to the established ones. And for the new and aspiring ones, right? One of the things, when they start telling me I got problems in my business, when they walk in the door, I'm wondering, where's the team, right? And they say, I don't have one. And I'm looking at them like, well, why? Are you scared? Or are you ignorant? Or are you arrogant? They're too prideful to say you need some help. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't tame that thing that I just showed you on the previous screen. You can't tame your business by yourself. So if you're going at it alone right now, please fix that fast. Why do I say this? Because listen, when you build a high performance team of rock stars, it becomes absolutely critical, right, for the long-term viability and success of your business. And speaking of rock stars, right? Listen, I'm reminded of a speech that Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, gave at a commencement ceremony at Stanford, right? He was talking to the graduates where he was really, made an analogy, using the Beatles and the secret to success of the company. And here's what he said. There were 4 guys who kept each other kind of negative tendencies in check. They balanced each other out, and the total was greater than the sum of the parts. And that is how I see business. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. Listen, amen to that, right? So, now that you get it, you and your team, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and give you credit that you got that team situation already in place. I'm going to give you credit for that because you know why? You are officially the Tiger Tamers. Yes, you are. And you sit at the center of taming your tiger between organizational health and execution. Well, now that you've got that team, let's quickly walk through what you need to master to lead effectively. So the leadership mastery consists of 4 major components, right? Mindset, routines, skills, and systems. The first leadership component is mindset. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, forget what you heard about everybody else. Listen, you got to have 10x thinking. Yes, you see the book over there, The 10x Rule, written by Grant Cardone. If you don't have a copy of that book, yes, I'm telling you right now, this ain't even Grant's show, but listen, I'm going to tell you, get your copy of The 10x Rule because you got to develop 10x thinking. What am I talking about? Listen, instead of you just thinking in terms of thousands of dollars, right, you need to start thinking in millions of dollars, right, which means your mind has got to change, right? You got to have the eye of the tiger, right, which means you got to have a heart of the champion mentality, right? Additionally, you've got to be adaptive. And what I'll say here is very important. I'm reminded, right, of a great, one of my favorite martial arts movies, in which it's called The Fist of Legend with Jet Li. And in it, his character had to go up against the sensei and to establish, who's the greatest. And you know how those battles go. Nonetheless, of course, the sensei, took him behind the woodshed, right? Right. Well, listen, after it was all over with, to Jet Li's character's surprise, the sensei turns to him, right, and just absolutely compliments him on what he was doing. And then the sensei left him with this message, which I want to leave with you today as entrepreneurs. When you learn to adapt, you'll become unstoppable. Because when you learn to adapt, you force your enemies, in this case, your competitors, to change. And that's how they defeat themselves. Listen, in addition to that, you've got to be a visionary. Someone once said to me, if you don't see it before you see it, you'll never see it. You know what I'm saying? And so same thing, as pertaining to faith, is also in the market. You got to be able to see market trends and seize on new opportunities before anyone else, right? You've got to be innovative, right? Stop forgetting about the box thinking outside the box. Listen, you need to think there is no box, right? And get it moving. You need to be a sponge, right? You need to constantly, being a voracious learner, right? New podcasts, new videos, new mastermind groups where you can constantly get new information so you don't get stuck in the middle somewhere, right? You've got to be relentless. You hear what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying here. Listen, you can't let rejection define you, right? And I'm gonna tell you this from a personal note. When I first got into the world of business, and when I would be in a situation where my ideas were being challenged, or my way of doing things were being challenged, I immediately thought to myself that they were personally attacking me and rejecting me. What I had to learn and mature is in this very thing. That is, it is not necessarily rejection is not necessarily of an idea. Is not necessarily a rejection of you as a person. It just means that the idea, right, or the product or service didn't fit the need. So with that in mind, it made me able to be more resilient and bounce back and say, okay, well, if this doesn't work, let's look at it another way. You've got to be the same way. Listen, you've also got to be a servant leader. Even once you be successful, you listen to any of the great CEOs, right? They're talking about the fact that not only that do they lead the organization, they're also the first to serve, not only just the employees, but the customers and the shareholders and everyone out there. Because why? Being a servant leader is what it's all about. You've also got to be anti-fragile. This is a great, there's a great book by the same title in which the guy basically says, listen, change your thinking. Instead of taking Sunday scenarios that you put inside your business plan, you probably should be doing like this. A guy by the name of Tim Ferriss said, listen, you need to start thinking about all the things that could go in your business and write them down first. So when you got those things down, guess what you can do? You can create, that's called a risk management plan. You basically put together a risk mitigation strategy for each thing that could possibly go wrong. What's the way to get out of it, right? So if you see them on the horizon or it happens, you don't have to panic. Instead of you reacting, you respond. Additionally, you need to be an alliance builder. This is very important. I don't know why us black folks typically do not like teaming with other black businesses. I don't get that whatsoever, right? I mean, we said, Lord, bless me and my business and nobody else, which is just absolutely nuts. Listen, my experience has shown, there's a time, right, working down through the years, there'll be great opportunities in the, the public and private sectors where there's these huge, large contracts. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. And guess what? I didn't have all the capability that I need to go after that work with my firm. Guess what I did? Got on the phone and said, hey man, listen, you got some capability I don't have. Here's the opportunity. You want to join in together? And guess what? We did. And then that was more money to say grace of for everybody. But you got to think in that mindset that listen, you could be an alliance builder. Lastly, of course, you've got to be legacy minded. This is important because of the fact, listen, none of us are going to be here forever. We're just not. And so when you think in that regard, I think about the great foundations of the world, the Ford Foundation and others, their money, and they're still speaking from the grave through their money, making things impact the world, long after they're gone. You've got to have, the next component, of course, is around routines. That's number 2, right? They say repetition is the mother of skill. You're absolutely right. Here, as you see on screen, here are just some of the ones, the full exhaustive list, but I can't go through all of them. But listen, you need to journal, right? You need to, this whole journey that you're on, being able to talk about when you first started to where you are 3 years now and seeing the highs and lows in between, those become valuable lessons learned for you, right? To be able to share with others, and not only yourself, but also if you get stuck along the way and say, listen, we encountered that in year 2. Can go back and see how you got unstuck, and do it again and get unstuck again. You hear what I'm saying? So in addition to that routine, right, you got many others. You got time management. There are 24 hours in a day. Some people are getting richer, some people are getting poor. It's all about how you spec out your day. One of the other things I'd say to you about routines that I'll just call out from here is how you can absolutely add at least 100% growth to your business this year. Yeah, I'm not saying that loosely. Here's why. Another challenge we have as black businesses and black business owners, and it's really a bad thing that I hope I'm going to help you break through and distance yourself from the rest of everybody else, from the rest of the pack, is we are horrible as a people of actually following up on opportunities. So I'm telling you today, listen, I was on a mentoring call with Grant Cardone, which one of the guys was there who was a restaurant owner. I mean, this guy on a massive client list. You hear what I'm saying? And one of the things he shared was, listen, when after their clients have dined with them for dinner, guess what he and his staff do? He literally gets on the phone and call them after the meal, right, 2 or 3 days later, and thank them for dining with them. Isn't that something? I mean, the guy stays packed. You can see why, because he gives the customer something much more than they expected, and that's follow through. So listen, if somebody walked up to you 2 weeks ago and said, listen, man, I've got a need for what you do, and they gave you a card, they gave you a phone number, you need to go dig that out, right? And not only that, you need to put it on a schedule, right, to say, listen, I'm going to get this call done, because listen, you may be leaving money on the table, and ain't no time to leave no money on the table. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah, so anyway, beyond that, you've got to have other routines in place where you're doing, being able to get competitive analysis of what your competitors are doing in the marketplace, but also too, as I mentioned earlier, right? You've got social political stuff going on, and those things could, those folks who lost their business because people were looting, right? Those things impacted their business. So you've got to be especially sensitive to that as a routine as well. So component number 3 has to do with what? Skills. Say it again. Skills. Absolutely. You got to have, you got to have leadership skills. I put that top of the list. We're talking about the components, but I just want to highlight it again. You've got to have the ability to do strategy and planning, and be able to make timely decisions. And listen, let's be honest. You need to have 10x prospecting and cold calling skills, because sometimes, guess what? All the advertising in the world is not going to help you. Sometimes you got to pick up the phone and call somebody. Yeah, I know you want to believe social media is the only way, to get customers. No. Trust me, the person that'll pick up the phone and call somebody, you will shock the customer on the other end, because the rest of the world ain't calling them. Go get your money. You hear what I'm saying? So not only that, listen, you got to be able to understand the sales cycles. I want to tell you, sometimes deals are, they say typically it takes 9 small yeses to get to the big yes. Well, in my case, in most black businesses, take 13. So you need to know that and plan for that, so you don't get discouraged when you're at, step number 6 and you got 7 more to go. You know what I'm saying? So not only that, you got to know how to present the deals, right? Contracts and negotiations. You got to know how to basically land that thing and get it signed. But once you do, you got to know how to expand it and back those renewals, because you don't want to be a one and done situation. You want those clients coming back to you to say, listen, what more can you do for us? Lastly, in this whole leadership component, right, is our systems. Right. When I say systems, right, people look at me and just think technology. No, that can be further from the truth. Systems can be both technical and non-technical in nature. In this case, I want to talk to you real briefly about having turnkey systems, right? The power of turnkey systems is very much of the example that I tell people about all the time, which has to do with McDonald's, right? McDonald's already knows what's going to happen when that person or persons come to the table with that money to become a franchise owner, right? And guess what? They're going to take that money, and what are they going to do next? You think they're going to stick them into that particular franchise to get started? No. They send them to Hamburger University. Yeah, you got to put something in that mind, you understand, to learn their system. They have learned, and thing that you got to learn as an entrepreneur, that you can't spend your time working in the business. You've got to work on the business, making it a system. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. I know people who own, restaurants, right? They never get to the point where they can actually, take 2 weeks of vacation, because they think they got to have their hands on everything. And that can be further from the truth. So what I'm saying to you is, systems are among your greatest tools in your arsenal. And here are some of the ones that you should have in place, right? You got customer intake and customer relationship, right? You've got marketing, right? Getting your message out. You got to have technology in the front and the back office, right? Not to call out all of these, but one that is very important. After you've landed that deal, you have got to be in a place where you are very good at what I call order to cash, right? Where you make sure after you get that invoice signed, that guess what? You produced a correct invoice and you get it out the door to that customer, right? And that you've got a accounts payable team making sure, a receivables team there to make sure to get that money. You hear what I'm saying? So with that being said, and then lastly, of course, you've got to be able to manage and attract talent and do the onboarding in such a way that's incredibly efficient. Okay, real quick, going back to the other components, right? So we talked about leadership. Of course, you got the components of organizational health. So I can't go through all of these, but suffice to say, you need organizational health. Is all about keeping your business healthy and hungry to win in the marketplace. There are about 9 dimensions and 45 elements of organizational health to gauge the health of your tiger, your business at any point in time. I'm gonna put these on screen. We can't go through all of them. I just wanted you to see what they are, right? This is taken from a great book called Beyond Performance. And what you see here, right, is, you see the fact that you've got all kinds of things that are, accounted for in the organizational health categories. Listen, next, you got execution. What can I say about execution? Listen, it's where the rubber meets the road. You can talk all you want, right? You can blah, 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 tell everybody you got such a great idea. And anytime somebody asks you what the idea is, man, I can't tell you. Well, listen, the graveyard are full with ideillionaires, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they talking all that. They talking all that smack about, ideas and so forth. And guess what? They never executed on them. $1 million idea is nothing without execution. Let me say that one more time. $1 million idea is absolutely nothing without execution. So it's like Jack Welch once said. You see the quote on the screen. You got to eat what you dream. You got to deliver on short range commitments, and while you're developing a long range strategy and implementing it. It's basically the success of doing both. Or as somebody would say, walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time, right? But getting it done in the short term, right? And delivering on a long range plan, that's what execution is all about. So now, hear me when I say, over the long haul, you've got to maintain a healthy balance of all three: organizational health, leadership, and execution. Now, what about customers, you say? Yeah, exactly right. Well, guess what? Let's talk about them. What do customers really want? I'm glad you asked. Well, if you're like me, when I started out, I was so busy talking about my service that I was just gumming them up. Listen, I've got the latest software, right? I can do this in a split second time, right? I can do all these cool fonts and the customer wasn't hearing it. It was like, next. It wasn't until I got this, what I'm going to share with you, this truth by Zig Ziglar, which is the following, and use this in the analogy of actually in the area of manufacturing and selling of drills, right? He says, customers don't buy drills, people. They buy holes. So think about it. You must sell solutions and not just products, tools, and services. You understand what I'm saying? So one of the action steps I will give you as a takeaway, you need to consider rewriting and practicing your elevator pitch. So since we're talking about tools and drills and holes, I decided to see if I could rewrite how to do this. So here we go. We exist to provide our customers with the ability to make holes of any size and depth they choose. We engineer and build the best, beautiful drills made out of the best materials designed to last a lifetime. I think that's a much better pitch, don't you? Absolutely. So, which leads me to secret number 3. Listen, let me just take a swig of water real quick on this before getting to secret number 3. You hear what I'm saying? Listen, I hope you're enjoying this because I'm having a blast, just here sharing you these things. And I hope you're writing them down because I can't go back, ladies and gentlemen, I can't go back. So, secret number 3, right? When you sell your why first, guess what you do with the customers? A switch goes off on them. They become raving fans. You looking at me and say, really? Yeah, well, I got an example. Guess what? Let's take Nike for a second, right? Nike, when they announced that there's some Air Jordans coming, what you gonna see? You gonna see mass pandemonium out there, right? You gonna see folks, coming through, camping out for weeks, right, to make sure they get them Jordans. Why is that the case? Because listen, these companies got to know their customers. They know that, as far as customers are concerned, they know what the customers are thinking, how they're feeling, right? And generally something to follow, right? Customers start to believe, listen, that they are at the center of what Nike's doing, right? They're building those shoes especially for them because they understand what it is to be number one, and they want to be number one, right? They believe that the deliveries lives up to the hype of what that product and service promise, right? Customers believe they have a great customer experience before, during, and after the sale, right? And not only that, right? Other things to take in mind, for instance, is the fact that there are opportunities to enjoy the product or service at all different price points. So if you only got a couple of dimes over here for the low range model of that iPhone in this case, right? Fine, they got one for you. But if you want the one in triple platinum, you know what I'm saying, special edition with a signature on that mug, they got something for you too, right? And then last but not least, when things do go wrong, right? Because sometimes products break, whatever, they don't hassle that customer with getting that product return, right? They make it super easy to get a return service so they're made whole and they can continue on with a great customer experience. So now, I have shared with you, ladies and gentlemen, what the three secrets are. Now listen, if you choose to master what I'm sharing with you right now, the three secrets, guess what? So you've got a team. You got the team of the Avengers, you hear what I'm saying? And leading the charge, right? You have whipped that tiger into shape, right? And he's tame, right? And ready to go, ready to execute, ready to produce value for customers, and he's doing it, right? You and your tiger all of a sudden have turned your attention to your customers, right? And you've turned them into raving fans, right? They're woo-hoo, and they're standing in line, right? And they're telling friends and family about the great service and product they got from you. Guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, yeah. Believe it or not, you get to ring the cash bell. I'm talking about massive profits and success, people. Absolutely. Woo! But not only that, you get something much more. You get the added benefit of purpose. What an amazing thing. Not only are you enjoying the fruits of your labor, but you're also seeing that your product and service is making a difference in the world, and nothing can beat that. So, what should you do next? I'm glad you asked. Listen, I've not always been successful. I mean, I'm a country boy from the sticks of Georgia. You can probably tell by the accent. You know what I'm saying? I was the first to graduate from college in my family. I was a combat veteran in Desert Storm. I lost a buddy of mine to suicide as a result of being in that place. I know what it's like to be passed over for promotions. I was one promotion from being a partner, from being before partner, and I was passed over twice, right? All because I didn't have enough cultural points. All while I was recruiting for this firm at places like Duke, right, and sitting on major advisory boards at major universities. I know what it's like to be the only black person in the room, right, and being seen and not heard, right. I had experienced 2 major job losses, right. I'm thankful to the good Lord that I survived 2008 without having to go bankrupt, right. I mean, I've taken massive salary cuts over my career, right. I know what it's like to burn through cash and checking and savings and 401k and credit cards. I know what it's like, unfortunately, to be divorced, right? And being estranged from my kids, right? And having failed businesses and business partners betrayed me, right? I know what I've had 2 foreclosed homes and repossessed cars. I know what it's like to go from living in a lovely 4,200 square foot big home in a cul-de-sac in a golf swim and golf club community to living in a 1,100 square foot home, where ain't got no backyard, right? 2 hours from the nearest big city. If that's you, I want you to be encouraged. I want you to do the following. I want you to look up. I want you to get up, and I want you to run, baby, run. Why? Because God is able. You hear what I'm saying? Let me just give you just a little bit of my testimony. Listen, he allowed me to land the job of my lifetime. I went from making $120,000 a year to $250,000. I mean, a quarter. You hear what I'm saying? Not a quarter, but $250,000, right? And then on top of that, God gave me hope, y'all. Woo! Allow me to marry my childhood sweetheart. I mean, an absolute babe. You see on screen, I'm saying, I mean, you know, she loves God, she loves me, she loves our family, and she genuinely loves people. You hear what I'm saying? And together we've launched some new exciting ventures that I can't tell you. I ain't going to put all my business out there. I'm going to tell you that it's exciting, right? I mean, God is providing health, healing, you know, and restoration in my family, you know, bigger family. Now, eight kids and 5 grandkids and living in a lovely 5,500 square foot home. I mean, with every amenity that you can't imagine around this mug. And listen, what? Got to be a W, y'all. Hello, somebody. Won't he do it? Won't he? Willy, won't he? Yeah. Listen, written massive number of books. 2 of them been written, translated into Chinese. And I'm currently pitching screenplays to Hollywood, I'm super excited about. And then recently I finished my doctorate program. So guess what? Dr. TL is in the house. Yes, listen, it brings me this. So what are you going to do, right? A good friend of mine would say, you either going to barbecue or mildew. So listen, you got 3 choices. You either going to do nothing or do it alone, or you can do it with me. I say you do it with me. Why do I say? Well, listen, if you want to be a champion, you got to work with champions. Listen, I ain't going to go through all my street cred, but you can see it on screen. Listen, I'm a 10X coaching champion, y'all. Listen, you know, national best-selling author, right? I'm a Christ follower. Yes, I am. You know, I'm the first African-American to ever minor in Japanese language and literature from the University of Georgia. Yes, I'm a combat veteran, and I'm an internationally known speaker and mentor. I'm a top sales executive and practitioner. Listen, I ain't one of them talking heads, right? They just talk about what you should be doing. They ain't never done it themselves. Listen, I've sold over $120 million over my career. And just this year alone, right before February 15th, right before COVID-19 came in, I'd already sold $5 million. What you gonna do, folks? Listen, also a real estate investor. And I'm powered by Grant Cardone. I've been talking about the guy, right? The billionaire real estate investment mogul. Yeah, and with the #1 sales and marketing program in the world. And who is Grant Cardone? There he is on the screen, man. Listen, he's doing this thing. You 10X rule, you know, put on the 10X Growth Conference, which is the largest business and entrepreneurship conference in the world. But what are folks saying? Look at there. You got all kinds of cool folks. You see Damon John from, you know, Shark Tank, but you also see Les Brown. Yes, Les, the man Brown who said about Grant Cardone. Listen, he said that Grant is the leading authority on sales today. And you better believe it. Yes, he is. So, you know, they say you're known by the company you keep. Look on the screen. You see Dr. George Fraser, right? You see who? Les Brown again. And then you see Jewel taking it with all the other greats too. Isn't that amazing? But wait, look at who's that guy? It's that country boy from the sticks. Yeah, that's me, y'all. What am I saying? You can do it too. So guess what? Look. Here's some of all the clients I've served over the years. You may recognize some of these. Some of these are household names. I've had the pleasure of serving. You know, here are some of the wonderful things that my clients have said about me throughout the years based on the things that I've been able to do for them personally and their companies, and have been a large contributor to their success. And by the way, here's a racing team on the USA Pro Cup Series that I was able to sponsor. You see that logo on the roof? Who did that car? Yeah, that was me, right? And I got to see that car on the Speed Channel running around doing this thing, right? So, by the way, enough of that. Here's also what my friends said about me, and I'm so grateful for my friends, you know, who have shared their heart, you know, to tell me how much they appreciate me as a person. And listen, you got to have friends and family in your corner, right? You know what I'm saying? So here's your chance. Listen, I want you to join me. I have a special limited time offer where I want to help you reposition yourself and your business to seize on massive growth opportunities post-COVID-19. It's 8 weeks of virtual coaching that starts on July 1st, right? You can find all the details, right, on my website, www.toddshula.com/24 hours. You see the schedule. Guess what? I'm giving you a bonus week. It ain't 8 weeks. It's 9 weeks. Yes, I am. And look at the pricing. I've cut it all. I've sliced it right to a third. Right? Why? Because I want to invest in you. I want to work with you, and I want to see you get where you want to go. Long after this conference is over, right? What do you do next? Listen, you got to have a coach. I'm your guy. Listen, I'm going to throw in free products, right? You see those 2 books? I'm going to ship them to you absolutely free of charge. And by the way, listen, I did manage to get a celebrity endorsement from the electrifying Erica Alexander, right? The NAACP winning, celebrity actress, right? And a former client of mine, right? She said, listen, Todd's a very smart consultant, and his passion is infectious, and his ideas are great. And I'm glad I met him, and I highly recommend him. Thank you, Erica, for that wonderful endorsement, right? Listen, what's in it for you? You get to start smarter, finish faster, and achieve more profits and success in your life and business. What you got to lose, y'all? You know what I'm saying? And look, you need to get my free gift. Do you see it on screen? It's still available. Again, you better get that fast to my site if you're going to get the opportunity to get the free download for the Audible book. You hear what I'm saying? Well, guess what? TikTok, you need to act now before it's too late. You'll see it on screen, www.toddshula.com/24 hours. Listen, it's been a pleasure being with you today. You can find me online at all the different social media sites, and my email's there as well. Listen, it's been my pleasure to be your host, of the 3 secrets you must quickly master to quickly launch and scale your business for maximal success and profits. I've been your host, Todd Schuler. Thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you. Bye now.